accidentally ended the stream.
You kind of are one family. These are your competitors.
But we're back.
Still, you're a family. You're all doing the same thing. You're traveling the world together like a big circus, and you never know anyone getting hurt doing anything. Maxwell's off the line. Have they changed their strategy? Are they going to run on the soft tyre? That's if they were running the medium. I actually don't know the facts on that one.
Drivers are back in their cars. I missed when the session's restarting, but I assume it's coming soon.
I mean, Max is probably like, wait, I want to start P2 again. That was great for me. And Lewis as well. So
wow. Anyu's okay. Like, uninjured okay, apparently.
We had a restart when I became world champion in Suzuka. I made a terrible start the first one, and they stopped and restarted it, and I made a much better start the next time. And then I went on to become world champion. So, you know, it doesn't always pan out exactly as it did before.
Second bite of the cherry then, the Ferrari drivers in their cars. Let's head back upstairs. First of all, I think we can hear from Ted.
Thank you, Simon. Yes, down at the Mercedes garage, where I can confirm that George Russell will not be allowed to start the restart, or should we call it, given that they're going to start in their grid order, the second British Grand Prix of 2022. The Mercedes team have tried their luck with the FIA. They've said that, look, you know, he was just there to check Zhou Guanyu was okay, we can repair the car, etc., etc., etc. But the FIA have said he cannot start the second running of the 2022 British Grand Prix because he received mechanical assistance during the race. So it will restart, but it won't be with George Russell.
Thank you very much indeed, Ted Kravitz. Up here in the commentary box.
Well, now who do I root for now that the one driver I've always rooted for is not in the race anymore?
We'll resume the British Grand Prix, resuming at 15:56 local time, and we've been trying to get to the bottom of why.
10 minutes.
We'll start with the grid order from the original start, Martin Brundle. Minus, of course, those cars that won't be taking part, and we've been looking at the rules and the regulations. So let's try and make this as simple as we possibly can, because they haven't gone through any of the sectors really, or got to the safety car 2 line. The only order that the FIA can use to restart this race is that original grid order.
Yes, and to refine that further, because all of the cars hadn't made their way through the safety car 2 line. So safety car 1 is pit entrance, and it's a very unusual pit lane here. It's very long in that respect. And safety car 2 line, which is a reference point that turns up in several regulations, is on the pit exit, which is between turns 1 and turns 2. So not all cars are going to do this. So they've reverted back to the original grid and then shuffled out the drivers that are not going to take the restart. So that, remember I read out the 17 drivers, which was accurate, that are going to take the restart. They've all been reshuffled back again now from where they started the original Grand Prix. Now the regulations are silent on 121 pages, the sporting code. Plus you've got the sporting regulations, then you've got the international sporting code. But those drivers, let's say Verstappen started on the soft tyre. We've had this sort of non-lap. Does that count for?
Yo, it's Seb's birthday.
We used 2 types of tyre in the Grand Prix. I'm going to assume he had.
Well, it hasn't gotten off to a great start now, has it? At least he's still in the race. Could be worse.
Sebastian Vettel, 35 today. My theory would be that the regulations don't talk about you must use a tyre or a compound of tyre for a complete lap. It just talks about using 2 different compounds of dry tyre.
When you leave the pit exit, that's normally.
Where's the rain? Wasn't it supposed to rain?
These tyres,
absolutely.
So, at the moment, till we get further.
Right now, I'd be much happier with slower speeds down towards turn 1.
as we're going to be starting this race not on lap 1 of 52, then obviously a lap has gone by, albeit under safety car conditions, and another lap will go by as the cars take to the grid.
So we'll start on lap
for the standard
3.
Start, then yes, it has been used.
Yeah. And this is a time for a wise head. And the drivers have really got to keep their emotions under control. It's odd. It's nice when you put a crash helmet on. It's like looking through a letterbox, really, and the whole world gets concentrated through the visor of your crash helmet there, as we see Esteban Ocon being strapped into the car. You've not got enough elbow room to put your own seatbelts on. That's why they have to have it done. They're not being prima donnas in that respect. But
that's Joe's car being taken off the low load and returned to the Alfa Romeo garage.
Yeah, but just keeping your heart rate down, keeping your head in place, and of course you're about to do exactly what the same thing again as where we had a massive shunt. So
Carlos Sainz, we think, is going to change his tyres. And you're allowed a change of tyres within this red flag period. So theoretically, nobody needs to come into the pit lane again if they so wish. We think Carlos Sainz can change.
There's no way they can make it 50 laps, 49 laps though, on one set of tires.
Before we get restarted, 6 minutes to go. Let's head down to the paddock.
This could become a really good strategy race though if nobody wants to pit.
A dramatic crash at the start of the British Grand Prix. Just explain to us what happened from your perspective.
It was Pierre.
Yeah, firstly glad to see that Joe's doing okay. Obviously, absolutely horrific incident. Ultimately, we took a risk starting them hard because I made the mistake in qualifying. We were starting out of position, and we thought that risk gave us the best opportunity later in the race. But there was just no grip whatsoever on this. You know, the hardest compound is cold out there. I got swamped by all the cars, and yeah, next thing I know, I got touched. I was in the side of Joe, and that was it.
And tell us about your discussions with the FIA and why you haven't been able to resolve them.
I got back, the car was on the back of the flatbed, so yeah, apparently as soon as you get assistance, you can't restart, so...
What do you mean attempting to reconnect? Shut up, you stupid app.
Should he be allowed to restart this race? He did what any decent human being would do. Saw someone in a lot of trouble, Martin Brundle, went to see if everything was okay. If that's right, and I haven't seen the pictures in real time. When he went back, the car's on the back of a flatbed truck. That seems rather harsh, but that is what the rules say, because he has now had outside assistance.
Yeah, that's the key phrase, outside assistance. It's really unfortunate. He said he just couldn't get it to fire back up again, and they do have a starter motor of sorts on the car now, which is such a shame. I think he could have sort of thumped his way back to the pit somehow. We saw enough cars with broken bits making it back, and Esteban would be a good example of that. So, as I said at the time, George, being the good Samaritan, feels he's been harshly treated there, but they are the rules. You can't get the car back to the pits on a low loader and then use the red flag. You can use the red flag to change tyres and fix genuine accident damage and all kinds. There's a long list of about 15 things you can do under red flag conditions.
So what have we got then? 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go before the 142,000 fans who are lining
Oh, and it's a standing start again.
to see some action again. And
So
there's a request. Marry me, Christian. I'm afraid so. He's already married. And Mrs. Christian Horner is also in residence here today. But unrequited love on display in the grandstands. Ted Kravitz shirts as well. Yeah, get a bit of everything here in the British Grand Prix, Ted.
You certainly do. Is that a Christian Horner fan then in the grandstand?
I think so. And there's a Daniel Ricciardo fan with a slightly less impressive sign, but an equally powerful message. Marry me, Daniel. Yeah.
Good. Right, I have a text from the FIA. This is how things are done these days. Regarding the grid order, not all cars have passed the safety car 2 line before the red flag, and therefore the last confirmed order we can use is the original grid. So I think what we've had in the past, Crofty, is that the reason that there was confusion up amongst, by the way, Stefano Domenicali, the boss of F1 management, is patrolling the pit lane kind of
Albon
I don't know what he's doing. I have a feeling he looks.
is in worse condition than Guan.
Sunday afternoons to get on with.
What happened to
To watch
Alex?
the British Grand Prix for the second time, and can we get going?
He's a racing
He is
fan,
a
like
racing
the rest
fan.
of us. You see, he
But,
wants to see the cars,
I
racing.
think in past red flags after the start, there has been a lap completed, or at least they passed that safety car 2 line before the red flag has been shown. So at least we've had an order with which we can restart. I think that's the difference between this one, which was red flagged very quickly.
So
and
Alex
other ones where at
Albon
least they've had a thought to think about
is the
it,
one that's
and
gone
then
to the hospital
when
after
they
this.
think about, do we red flag this? They managed to do more of the lap and actually establish an order. I think that's the difference.
And I'm sure
I mean, that's got to be a pretty big injury if you have to like go to the full-on hospital for that. Of course, Max did last year, and he was perfectly fine.
actually,
But still,
Wellington Straight, which was another sort of 250 metres from when the red
if
flag
Alex is hurt, who replaces him? Logan? Can we have Logan Sargent? Can we have an American F1 driver again?
to come onto
I mean, it's after Miami, but we still got Coda coming up
The cars did actually pass
in October.
just on the side of the track. So, as expected, it will be a standing start, and as expected,
Oh, great. We're doing this again. Standing start.
new set of medium compound tyres on the Ferrari, and he went into the race, Carlos Sainz, with 2 of those available to him. And look at that, brand new tyres, because they give you a little bit more grip away from the grid. The cars are separated by 8 metres, they're just over 5 metres long. But if you can get a 2 or 3 metres extra grip from a tyre, a brand new tyre, or a softer brand new tyre.
So Max on the mediums.
Yeah, Max has gone, he's swapped. So that means he's now used 2 sets of, in my view, 2 sets, 2 different types of compound, which you're obliged to do, unless it rains. And they will now go
Will it
out.
still rain?
Got to hurriedly remember where they are on the grid. Now, their name, because they're going to, some of them are going to be a lot of them are going to be starting.
It's 10:57. It's almost been an hour since the start of the race.
Because obviously we've lost people like
Still have
George,
3 hours
yeah,
left.
So anybody behind him is moving up. But luckily their number and their
No, Latifi. Wait, does Latifi still gain spots? He starts 8th, I think, because Guan Yu and George were ahead of him.
From this race, Joe Guan Yu, who made contact with George Russell, also out in this race, who ended up going over the tyre barrier and coming to a sudden halt by the catch fencing.
Imagine just tuning in and hearing that happen to somebody.
Is okay and not suffering serious injuries after that horrifying crash. Joe Guan Yu and George Russell then are out of this race. Alex Albon, who got tagged from behind by Sebastian Vettel, went into the pit straight wall, the Sir Lewis Hamilton pit straight wall, and then came across the track, made contact with Esteban Ocon. Yuki Tsunoda also sustaining damage as well. Well, Alex Albon is out of this race, but Ocon and Tsunoda managed to get back to the pits, and they can take their place on this restart, which, because the cars
Oh my God.
make it to the
Someone's still going down into Brooklands. Meanwhile, everyone else is in Maggots and Beckett's already.
for the British Grand Prix.
This is going to be a long wait on the grid.
Who starts where for the British
And cold tires, as we've just seen, are not great to have.
Still got 17 of them in the Grand Prix, isn't it? Good work there to fix those damaged cars.
Quite. There you can see a bit of weaving down the straight.
I'm actually nervous for this start again. This is like Bahrain 2020 all over again.
And on what are still quite chilly conditions for a Formula One tyre, you need to get some heat, some energy into them to give them grip.
Yeah, and of course, you know, they've been in the pit lane, fast lane. They've not been in the garage to where they can warm the brakes up and prepare the car in the most perfect way in the garage. So, drivers there, Nigel Mansell looking on.
All right. Well,
It's a Ferrari victory today, he said on
we're lining up.
to me. And look at my cap, he said. That's I think he'd like to see Carlos Sainz win the race today with Nigel.
So Christian Horner then looking on in that Red Bull garage as Carlos Sainz pulls up into...
I don't see this going well at all. I won't lie.
to his car about 18 minutes.
Remember what I said, my prediction for the original start?
Down in that, pit
It could still come true because we have not seen cops under green flag conditions yet, and the Alpine almost just wrecked coming to the grid.
first time around.
You have to be kidding. That's a horrible omen.
Second time Tsunoda, Vettel, and Ocon. So some have gone.
I won't lie, that is kind of funny. The Alpine almost wrecked coming to the grid, warming up the tires, doing a burnout. Here we go. Take 2. 5 red lights.
Here at Silverstone, British Grand Prix, lights out, away we go. They won't help for long. Sainz comes over.
Looks like another good stall. Oh my god. Oh, Max. Whew. I thought I saw Max go around there. Here we go. Perez coming after Max now. Max hangs on. Whoa, Carlos. Carlos, 4 wide. Dude, they were 4 wide for the lead there for a second. Charles is up in the 3rd. Look at this weaving. Oh, look at. Round the outside. Leclerc. Oh, he gets shoved off. Oh, this start is incredible. Norris and Hamilton are getting awfully close. Here we go, down towards Cops. Damage for somebody. It's Perez. That thing just like exploded there. Okay, that restart was actually incredible. I told you this would be the best race of the year. Well, it's only 1 lap technically, so it might not be, but... And last year's race was kind of boring for, 50 of the 52 laps. And the first lap was probably the second most incredible lap of the year. Let's go, Sainz still leading. You know what? Now I hope we get another red flag just so we could get another standings.
Yeah, it was Leclerc who bundled up the inside in turn 4, it must be said, but the stewards will be looking at did Verstappen give Leclerc racing room around the outside? Was he far enough alongside to have earned racing space?
Down towards Cops? No, not quite. Thought we were going to get a move.
Mick Schumacher has just got ahead of Lance Stroll. That's a battle for 16th place as it currently stands. Leclerc 2.5 seconds off Verstappen. Perez running in 4th, and then Norris.
Let's go. Sainz has broken DRS. Is this the day?
Currently running in 12th place, and part of a long train of cars making their way down the hangar straights and waiting for the next time around where they want some DRS to try and make an overtake happen. Ferrari out in front. They have now led over 80,000 kilometres in Grand Prix racing in their history. Not a bad effort.
DRS enabled, as you predicted, as we know at the end of the second lap, but there are only 17 restarters. Look like there were 34 of them out there having a go at each other. Super aggressive first lap.
Let's head to Sky Race Control. Karun Chandok.
DRS has been enabled, Crofty, but Carlos Sainz has broken the magic 1 second number he needed. Good news on the other side of the Ferrari pits. Charles Leclerc's radio to say his car is okay despite going over that big sausage curve in the loop.
It seems to have a lot more pace at the moment than Sergio Perez in that Red Bull. Perez leading Norris, leading Hamilton around Brooklands and into Lovefield now is Hamilton.
Yeah, Perez looks to certainly be slow because of this. Here comes Norris.
Perez will be slow with this damaged front wing. He'll lose a good dozen seconds if they have to change that. And you can see on the right-hand side, that then affects the airflow all the way down the side of the car. And so it doesn't energize the under tray as well. So Perez will be losing downforce all round, particularly at the front.
He's all okay on the car? So we lost the right side end plate, front end plate, missing 5 points.
Oh, Leclerc is damaged.
These are crucial laps then for the British pair of Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton. They've now got DRS down the hangar straight. You can see how Hamilton is gaining on Norris.
This battle's going to be incredible, isn't it? Isn't it? I could see this being incredible. Oh, Perez pits now.
That frees up the McLaren and the Mercedes.
Two Brits are away there, so Perez struggling so maybe there's going to be a roadblock there. He has to come in and get that fixed.
No further investigation, say the stewards. The Verstappen and Leclerc incident. So we carry on racing as Perez then comes in for
Come on, Charles.
But it's way out of the strategy window that Red Bull would have been envisaging for this race, and you can see him tumbling down the order as a result.
Yeah, I think Leclerc's lucky that for bundling up the inside of turn 4, he's not being looked at. So it looks like it's pretty much even Stevens for those two.
Right, DRS for Hamilton, not for Norris this time around. Hamilton gaining on Norris as we get
Up the inside, Hamilton's in front.
You can hear the cheers as one British driver overtakes another, and Hamilton's up to 4th.
And yeah, I think that'll indeed. And we know how good the Mercedes looked in dry conditions, so that's released Lewis into some lovely clear air now. He can get after.
And imagine what George would have been doing if he were still in this.
Move for Lewis Hamilton. And
Damn it, Pierre. Why?
I don't think that's his race today anyway for Lando against the Mercedes. So he needs to just hang on to Lewis as long as he can. But Lewis, I think, will now set off after Leclerc.
He was picking up a bit of understeer, I think, there.
Oh my god, Lewis is fastest right now. Are you kidding me? This is crazy. First race that Mercedes is back is the one that George DNFs.
133s. Verstappen just a couple of tenths faster than Carlos Sainz, who led him away
This is start 2.
and stayed ahead this time.
Yeah, Leclerc got a poor start actually, but look, Sainz pinched Verstappen. And
I thought Verstappen was dead at 1. I thought he was going to cause another big wreck.
At that point, he got his teammate, who then backed off to give him some space. And look at Leclerc.
And then they went 4 wide. And then they went 4 wide for the lead.
A little bit of rubbing his race
In a Formula 1 race.
Did you think Perez might actually have had a chance to dive down the inside of Max Verstappen?
I think he was protecting Verstappen there, wasn't he? So Sainz gives him the little squeeze. There's the bit of grass that, and Max having to get out of the throttle. But I think he thinks, no problem, I'll do the outside of turn 3 then. But Sainz saw that one coming, ran a little bit wide himself, covered off the apex of 4. Now look out for Charles Leclerc bouncing around. We didn't quite see him bouncing around on the inside of us.
This is the view on board with the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, who finds himself just caught a little bit.
Oh,
trying to
Lewis.
avoid any potential contact between Leclerc and Perez. That allows Norris to then swoop up the inside, as you can see he does.
Yeah, it was Leclerc on Perez rather than Verstappen, wasn't it, into turn 4. Here we go. And that is where certainly Leclerc's front wing got damaged. And that was a risky move for the beginning of a long Grand Prix from Charles Leclerc there.
But he had to take some sort of action, didn't want to get bogged down behind Sergio Perez, who is now running down in 16th place, and his race has kind of been ruined. He can still recover from there, but it's been ruined for the time being by that early pit stop.
So Sainz calling
Bree, turn 11. What's turn 11?
He's got Verstappen within the DRS zone, within the 1 second.
7, 8.
Just about till he'll start.
Maggots and Beckett's. I don't think that's a good spot for debris, that's for sure.
That's around 10-12 miles an hour extra speed.
And you can see the difference that it's making for Max Verstappen, but Carlos Sainz is far enough ahead, and it's battle resumed between these two. From the closing stages in Montreal, the opening stages in Silverstone, it's Sainz and Verstappen. This time around, the Ferrari ahead of the Red Bull. That's not how it finished, of course.
Oh no, Max is in DRS.
These new wider delta-shaped nose cones and front wings are so cumbersome, Crofty. When you damage it like Checo Perez, it takes an age to change, and that's why he's lost so much race time, Perez. Just another update from down here. Sebastian Vettel did the second start on a soft set of tyres, but they didn't last longer than 8 laps, and he's pitted and gone on to carry on the race.
Yeah, he's come back out on the medium tyre now as Sebastian Vettel. Obviously, the hard
Here we
tyre
go.
is not going to go to the end of the race, and they believe in Aston Martin.
Come on, Sainz. Come on, you've never won before. Win today.
Last until the checkered flag. We're on lap 8 of 52, and the battle for the lead sees the top 3 spread by only 2.5 seconds. There is your race leader, Carlos Sainz, in his 150th Grand Prix start. Max Verstappen in his 151st Grand Prix start. Charles Leclerc in his 90th Grand Prix start. Currently occupying those
Could get interesting down towards Brooklands.
in the mid
Oh, Max not with a good exit there. Never mind.
Lando Norris about a second a lap slower, currently running in 5th place.
So Alex Albon is going to be transferred for precautionary checks to the hospital. Certainly is. He must be looking ever larger in the mirrors of that Ferrari. And of course we saw Alex plunge head first into the pit wall, didn't we?
That's right.
Whereas Joe Guanyu is actually remaining here under observation at the circuit.
Best wishes to Alex Albon, and I hope there's nothing, there's not too serious an injury for that young man. Yes, no chance whatsoever to avoid the concrete wall after he was hit from behind. So we can see Carlos Sainz ahead of us as we ride on board then with Max.
Sainz is slower than Leclerc too.
Gaining, but Sainz once again just a little
I
bit
think.
too far. And while Sainz hasn't got DRS, of course, and that's a gap in the rear.
If we could get Leclerc in this, oh boy, this could get really good.
Is a few tools with the engine and the energy recovery system that can give him extra pace at a time of the track he needs it most.
Yeah, and he would have taken a bit of satisfaction out of seeing Sainz struggle a bit for traction there.
Leclerc's this fast with a little bit of wing damage.
To the pit straight, and the Red Bull.
Solid, got a bit wide as well.
Yeah, and that's obviously going on to the old pit straight, that particular one. But the speed we saw from the Red Bull, wet and dry. I mean, he did all 3 fastest seconds in qualifying. Didn't get on pole position, Max, because of the yellow flag for Charles Leclerc. But he's had the fastest car, wet and dry. So no surprise to see him at this phase. We'll keep an eye on Hamilton. He's just about matching the top 3. Actually, he's dropped Lando Norris by 5 seconds, as you can see.
Sergio Perez with the fastest lap. Trouble for Sergio Perez.
Perez might not be out of this thing yet.
Your race leader Carlos Sainz at the moment, but after a change of tyres onto the mediums, going very nicely indeed. He got damage on his front wing after tangling with Charles Leclerc. I think Leclerc bashed him not once but twice.
Ooh.
Sainz going off onto the grass.
There goes the lead.
But he hadn't recovered it sufficiently for Max Verstappen to stay behind.
Oh no. Nobody wants to see this.
At the start of the hangar straight, Verstappen, the championship leader, now ahead of Carlos Sainz, and the Ferrari was caught out by an errant gust of wind here at Silverstone, or not. Well, it was vulnerable at the start of that straight. Sainz could do nothing to keep Verstappen at bay.
Yeah, to add insult to injury, Verstappen had the DRS because he was behind at the detection point, the drag reduction system. So, unforced error there to an extent from Carlos Sainz. Let's see what happens. He's turned into the final right of Beckett's, and the back end of the car wouldn't live with it. He's had to give it an armful of left-hand lock in a right-hand corner, and he just walks the car off the road. So he'll pick up the throttle now, and there it is. It wasn't much of a movement, was it? But he had to steer left to turn into the slide. There it is.
That's a costly moment for Carlos Sainz. It's cost him the lead, but it might cost him second place as well, because his teammate Charles Leclerc now has DRS and is within 1 second of getting past. Pierre Gasly has gone off the track as well, down at turn 15, or to give it its better name, Stowe. And that's why you might have seen the yellow flag, and then Yuki Tsunoda down at Village making a bit of a lock-up going off the track too.
Fastest man last time around was Lewis Hamilton in 4th place. And actually Sergio Perez down in 16th. Early pit stop.
Excuse me? Lewis, no. Oh, both AlphaTauris wrecked each other.
Gasly rather tripping over each other.
Synchronized spinning.
Yuki swearing on the radio. What's new?
Tsunoda on the inside of Pierre Gasly, and both AlphaTauris having the misfortune there, tumbling down the order. Karun Chandon.
Hamilton another fastest lap.
A couple of moments. Let's just stick with this, because down the Welling Donington straight. Charles Leclerc's got DRS once again. He's going to stay behind his teammate Carlos Sainz. To you, Karun.
He's been on the radio, Crofty, saying that he's faster than Carlos and wants the team to swap them round.
Yeah, so Ferrari need to make that decision very quickly. I mean, and we keep seeing the front wing. You can see it again there on Charles Leclerc, missing the upright part that Sergio Perez pitted for. It doesn't seem to be slowing him down much. Now, Ferrari need to either say stop fighting and get off after Verstappen as fast as you can, or swap them around. They need to make that decision very early on.
Sainz has DRS. Sainz has DRS. He's 6 tenths back. Max is slow, isn't he?
Very slow. Very slow.
Here comes Carlos. Yes. No way. It was the debris that Carlos said. He locked up. Did he just speed? He might have sped in the pit lane too.
It's actually quite close to the pit lane, so it's done. The tyres look inflated, but I think that's the sidewall actually doing, keeping them, making them look inflated. A good stop, and he's away again.
So where does he come out into this race? You can see Lando Norris and Fernando
No way.
through into Abbey. So Verstappen comes
It's
out in
all
sixth
going to
position
just
in this
absolute
race.
hell now.
British Grand Prix. This has been so far. We've lost Alex
And now it's the Ferrari battle.
George Russell after contact between Russell and Joe right at the start, and Alex Albon getting tagged by Sebastian Vettel. We've seen Carlos Sainz take the restart after losing the initial start to Max Verstappen, but take the restart, lead the race. Verstappen overtake him on the track, and then Verstappen get a puncture, allowing Sainz and Leclerc to come back at him. And is this where he got that puncture, ran over a curb?
He went quite wide in Cops corner, and says he hit a bit, and that's where the carbon is going to be sitting if it's been discarded. And he's got it feels like he's got an immediate punch. He loses time all the way through Beckett's corner,
Yeah.
to Hanger straight.
Sainz said there was something at like turn 11, which I think might be cops.
What was going on? And of course, then Sainz has got the DRS up because he was in the detection zone when he needed to be. Both Ferraris
Let's go. This is exactly what we needed to get this championship battle going.
on three wheels, and he struggled to slow down for the speed line there as well. That's carefully monitored. So Max, then, and you're doing three wheels on your wagon effectively. The brakes don't work too well.
Take the tires, otherwise there's something with the car. It's still not good.
Oh, no way. More issues.
Verstappen still very, very concerned. I wonder if he did go over a bit of carbon, Martin. But where we saw the replays, that's exactly where Sergio Perez started losing bits of his front wing. And I wonder if it was Perez's front wing damage.
Oh, the Red Bull killed the Red Bull.
Verstappen running over it.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's a dream come true. Maybe not last year, but this year, it totally is.
He can feel it. And for the second year running here at Silverstone, Max Verstappen could find himself not finishing.
Right rear, there's something loose, something wrong on the right rear. You can see it, it's got the wrong camper angle on it as far as I can see then. So we assume it's tight. So maybe there's a bit of damage on his right rear suspension. He'll be wanting to do there. They'll have to pit him.
Ted Kravitz, down to you.
Not pitting him yet. I usually can see the mechanics clearing a space in the garage for a car. They're not doing that yet. I did think, Crofty, when he came in, all the tyres looked to be
2 seconds, Ted.
Okay, Max, can confirm it's bodywork damage.
Oh.
Loss of rear
Yeah, that's unfixable.
critical. So you are able to continue, but you will have a performance loss.
So so is that over the curbs then? Is that over the curbs at Cops Corner? There's torn some damage. So what they're seeing from the push rods is they're not seeing the right amount of load for the aero load. I thought I could see the right rear tyre looking like it was sort of folding under. More than
Yuki
normal.
gets a
So
5-second
he's gonna
time
get some
penalty.
for spinning out and taking his teammate with him, which is a fair cop. But Verstappen then.
I think it was Perez's broken front wing that wasn't cleared off the track. It broke Max's car, I think.
Charles Leclerc has been gaining on him for the last couple of the laps. We're on lap 15.
Okay, moving off the sides, mate. I'm not losing the car everywhere.
You have less rear aerodynamic load, but there's nothing we can do about it. We'll try to correct it at the next stop in terms of balance. But it is not structural, so you are safe to continue.
Last lap for Verstappen was 0.8 of a second slower than this man, Carlos Sainz, your race leader. Will be back with Ted Kravitz in a few moments' time, because there's the
Now it's the
DRS
Ferrari
down
battle.
the rear wing, opening once more for Charles Leclerc. Into Stowe they go, separated by about 4 car lengths.
Don't forget Lewis Hamilton in this. He's got the gap down to 4.8 to Charles Leclerc now. Faster last time around as well. That's the two Ferraris.
It's an absolute dream perfect scenario for Lewis Hamilton.
I was just about to say, the longer this goes on for Ferrari, the more it just affects the lap times by 3/4 of a second, whilst they're both
Another fastest lap for Lewis.
or trying to gain a lead, and Hamilton's just set a new fastest lap of the race, and he was 0.4 of a second quicker than Carlos Sainz on lap 15. Ted, back down to you.
Don't forget, Charles Leclerc is missing 5 points of downforce, is he not? From
Yes,
this front
that's
wing.
true.
So the fall with cars that haven't got something wrong with them is Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz. Good downforce because they're right at the point of the car. There's Lance Stroll in for a pit stop right in front of me. So yeah, we talk about Red Bull must have very sensitive aerodynamics. You lose that on some other cars, driver might not even notice, but Verstappen calls it undrivable, completely broken.
Should Ferrari want to pit Charles Leclerc now, he's pretty much in undercut territory where he comes in.
Copy. I will come back to you.
Yeah, it's nuts now. So Carlos Sainz is having to weave to keep his teammate behind him. The gap for Hamilton down to 4.6. Hamilton's done the fastest middle sector of anybody in the Grand Prix by some margin on this lap. He's coming at the two Ferraris.
Ferrari pitbull, should they want to do that? That is how Charles Leclerc damaged his front wing, contact with Sergio Perez.
Yeah, it was a bit too bold, I must say, from Leclerc there.
Oh look, that's where...
Oh, the wing was from Charles, and it damaged Perez.
Going down towards Cops, in the front right part of his front wing.
Max was super smart in turn 4 because he just hung it around the outside. He knew there'd be trouble down the inside.
And so, lap 17 of this race. There's the two Ferraris, their gap out in front. So it's come down to 3.9 seconds between Leclerc and Hamilton. No further investigation forcing another driver off the track. Gasly and Tsunoda having another battle, a second battle. The first one cost Tsunoda a 5-second time penalty.
Leclerc was almost understeering off the road there through the exit of Beckett's into Maggots and onto the hangar straight, but he looks so much faster on the brakes, does Leclerc over Sainz.
5 times Carlos Sainz has finished as runner-up in a Grand Prix. He's leading the British Grand Prix here, and he's led it now for as many laps as he led the Canadian Grand Prix last time out. You try telling him to let his teammate go past. He's not going to want to do it in a hurry.
Sainz has been told that lap time is target is 32.9.
Yeah, but then do something, please. I'm not trying to influence my results. I can't go faster, guys.
They're trying to be fair at Ferrari, and Leclerc's not.
Yeah, so I'm not sure Carlos has got a 32.9 in him at the moment, but, you know, he's entitled to run his race and use his tyres as he sees fit as well. But they're playing into Mercedes' hands beautifully here.
Karun Chandok, while we hear the Charles Leclerc team radio, you've been having a little listen to what Carlos is saying.
Yeah, they've given him that 32.9, and he says he's going to charge his battery pack back up. He's saying, leave me here, I can't do the 32.9. What proof will be in the pudding, wouldn't it? When they cross the timing line.
We'll see in a couple of moments, but there's the silver arrow of Lewis Hamilton gaining on them, currently in 3rd place, and these three have pulled a long, long way.
Leclerc fastest now in Sector 1.
Then comes Fernando Alonso, who's keeping...
If Leclerc gets that front wing, if they decide to repair that, he's going to be really fast, but he's going to lose a lot of time. I don't know.
A lap slower than Alonso ahead of him. Ocon currently 7th. Nicholas Latifi, we barely mentioned Nicholas Latifi, running a super race for Williams at the moment. The old Williams without the upgrades in 8th place and ahead of Valtteri Bottas and Daniel Ricciardo currently occupying the final points place.
It's a good lap. Keep pushing. You are on Hamilton lap times. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a 33.1, it's not a 32.9.
Well, Hamilton goes fastest again.
So is there, you know,
Come on, Ferrari. Come on, you lost this to Hamilton last year with 3 to go. Don't do it this year too.
And who you're following, but it is, and also the.
You need to push more. You need to push more. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the news that he doesn't really want to hear, but they'd be best to drag along and pull themselves clear of Hamilton, because Mercedes, you know what Mercedes are now doing? Getting into the undercut zone, where if they pit first with a fresh set of tyres, if Lewis can get within a couple of seconds of these guys, then he's got a chance. They got a chance to pit first and get track position.
There's nothing Lewis Hamilton likes more than an opportunity to get out there and delight the British crowd, and a challenge that's been laid down. And if you remember, 12 months ago here at Silverstone, it was 3 laps from the end when he overtook a Ferrari to go and win the British Grand Prix. He's chasing down the Ferraris once again.
So Sainz has been told to push.
Yeah, copy. I tried to keep my eye, but I'm just losing race time.
Copy.
Leclerc is not yielding and offering much grip to those that are running.
Now you can mini size. I've got no grip at all. As Gasly gets the black and orange flag for a damaged car, you've got to stop by the pits. If that's the case, something hanging off that. So if Hamilton's got some pace, but I'm not sure he has. I'm not sure he's got what he needs.
Copy, Lewis. So yeah, let's go for it.
So he says tyres are still good. He's changed tyres once because of the red flag and changing in that red flag period, but he has got to put another compounded tyre on.
32.6 for Lewis, and yeah, if he can keep popping those in, well, keep an eye on Sainz's time. So he's very close, isn't he, to undercutting one, if not both, of the Ferraris. If he can keep this pace up, what he will have is much fresher tyres, because Sainz hit it on lap 20.
Either way, it's been a storming drive from Lewis Hamilton in this race so far. Lewis Hamilton back to what he's done time and time and time again over the years, chasing cars down, getting out in front, leading Grand Prix. It's been a while coming, but the British fans are seeing hammer time here at Silverstone this weekend. Ted, to you.
And they're absolutely loving it, Crofty. When Charles Leclerc came in for a pit stop, I got a closer look at the damage to his front wing. I saw no more damage on his, or no less damage, than Sergio Perez had to his front wing when Red Bull was so keen to change it earlier. The whole of the end plate on the right-hand side off. And if that's only lost him 5 points of downforce, then I'm a monogasque. That's a crucial part of the front wing, and these front wings are really important on these new cars this year. So I'll be amazed if that's that little damage aerodynamically.
Right. Charles Leclerc.
I don't know what happened to the front wing.
Okay, understood.
Charles Leclerc is starting to put in some very, very good sector times. If Hamilton wants to pit and come out ahead of Leclerc, he might need to pit at the end of this lap.
Yeah, because Leclerc was over a pit stop behind, and he's having to pump these laps in now. And that's it. I completely agree with Ted.
Oh, Pierre's out.
Any less damage to his front wing than Perez's front wing, but now I think today is about Verstappen just scoring the World Championship leader. He's just scoring as many points as he can by the sound of it.
Came in with 46 points, the lead in the championship. Did Max Verstappen. His teammate Sergio Perez was running in second place.
Leclerc almost in the 131s.
Championship with 78 points out in front. Things are changing at Silverstone as they might have done last year too.
So obviously Leclerc did not undercut Sainz in all of that, but
anyone else see those dark clouds in the background?
5 laps younger now for the remainder of the Grand Prix, and is coming back at it rather rapidly.
Esteban Ocon has got Nicholas Latifi in his sights. He fancies 9th place at the moment. Pierre Gasly, you saw in the pits, has retired from this race. Bottas, Russell, Joe and Albon also out of this race. And the 15 that are left out on the track, giving us some splendid entertainment here on this Silverstone Sunday. Hamilton out in front, 19.2 seconds the gap though to Charles Leclerc, who is the fastest man on track currently. Karun Chandler at Sky Race Control.
Sainz looks sideways there through, I think that's Chapel. I don't know which corner's Megas, which corner's Bet. I just did that only. I don't know which corner's Maggots. I don't know which corner's Beckett's. I don't know which corner's Chapel. I just know that they're all like right there, and that everybody kind of combines them.
And Ferrari once again have got to make a pretty quick decision then.
Are we fighting?
So we are right on top of the pit window from Hamilton.
Yeah, so what does that mean? Do they let Charles Leclerc past, or Charles Leclerc wants to know, am I expected to overtake him?
Yeah, if Lewis gets it now, he'd come out right in the middle of this battle. He'd be right there.
The top three might be separated by 19 seconds. However, one of them's got to come into the pits.
And we are free to fight,
It's an interesting message when there's a Mercedes trying to overtake you on the overcut.
You want to sort it out? Go and sort it out, gentlemen. That might not be the best idea for Ferrari in terms of helping.
Ferrari love throwing away race wins, don't they?
Because there's every chance that both drivers get held up, and that will be music.
Monaco strategy, Baku, engines.
Absolutely right. So they're all in the low sort of late
Spain, engines.
clearly the faster at this point, but he's now got the DRS servers as well.
And here, probably just because they're fighting each other.
Let them fight. It's an interesting decision. Very interesting decision.
An old Lewis
For
box.
me, this is a situation where you let Leclerc go, and if it doesn't work out, he gives the place back later on. But I can understand why, Carlos is fighting to win the British Grand Prix for himself, but he doesn't have the absolute raw pace out front at the moment.
I mentioned that Esteban Ocon had Nicholas Latifi in his sights. Well, he's now got ahead on Nicholas Latifi and into 9th place. And I can give you some news on Zhou Guanyu from the FIA.
Target lap time 32.2, otherwise we swap in the cars.
Okay, one more lap.
Who was taken to the medical centre but has been declared fit and released from the medical centre. That's the latest update on Zhou Guanyu.
Yeah, so exactly what we're talking about. So, all right, Carlos, one more lap to do a 32.2. You've got to match Hamilton. Hamilton just, is just a fraction faster than him.
They're throwing Carlos's lead away.
Works up another lap to sort it out. Otherwise, they're playing right into the hands of Mercedes-Benz there.
So Zhou Guanyu released from the medical centre. Alex Albon was transferred by helicopter to Coventry Hospital for precautionary checks after his incident and accident into the wall on the Sir Lewis Hamilton pit straight as Charles Leclerc heads towards.
Whoa! That was a big move. I got scared.
Carlos Sainz was having none of it.
They do let each other.
So target lap time for Sainz is 32.2, otherwise we'll swap.
But we are losing time compared to Hamilton.
Yes.
2-2 is not enough. In my opinion.
Agreed. But what they mustn't play around. They've got to do the switch over down the hangar straight or somewhere and do it elegantly. Otherwise they'll hold each other up. You don't want to be offline. You don't want to do it in a critical area. Do it sort of in a place where you can both carry momentum.
For one moment, I thought Leclerc was going to dive down the inside at Village as well. They've got Yuki Tsunoda who's...
So this is not
Here it is.
swap in the cars.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
And they've done it quite happily there with Carlos Sainz letting Charles Leclerc past, and Leclerc getting the DRS as well to help him make that move very seamlessly indeed. So the instructions came from the Ferrari pit wall, but we'll see in time. Was that too late? Was it 2 or 3 laps too late? Charles Leclerc will now respond. Do Mercedes bring Lewis Hamilton in at the end of this lap to try and respond? Because they think they might be able to get out ahead. 19 seconds average time lost, Martin. It could happen.
Yeah, he's right there as they're in Hamilton's pit window as it's been described. But we do know that this hard compound tyre that Lewis will go on to takes a little bit of warming up when you first get out there. A little bit of bringing to life. But Hamilton is right in the thick of this now.
And how do those tyres look? Lewis Hamilton, every time we've heard from them, has said, no, the tyres feel good, the tyres are okay.
Yeah, they've got that lovely dull sheen across the top of them. And any graining phase it'll pass through now, so I understand why he's hanging on to them. And of course, just to remind you, Sainz pitted on lap 24. Leclerc pitted lap 20. Leclerc pitted on lap 25. So Hamilton's going to have at least 12 laps advantage over Sainz and a 7 laps advantage over Leclerc. 7 laps of a very long circuit.
And we're expecting him to go onto the hard compound tyre. But is there a chance here, with 20 laps to go in this race, he can hang out for another 7, 8 laps and then put the softs on at the end? He might come out behind the Ferraris, but he'd be on much faster tyres.
Yeah, good point. The deg, as we like to call it, degradation, is pretty low on all of the tyres around here. So, how do you carry these through? And,
Charles stays with Carlos, then a DRS train might form, and Hamilton may not be able to get past. Come on, I want a Ferrari win.
Skyglass customer, press your red button and you can watch highlights of the race alongside the live action. And the live action has been plentiful, and we've lost 5 drivers from this race. A double DNF for the Alfa Romeo team, their first since Abu Dhabi last season. Bottas and Joe both out. Russell out for Mercedes, ending his run of top 5 finishes during the course of this season. Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly also out. We're watching Mick Schumacher make a move on Nicholas Latifi, and Mick Schumacher up into the points. He's 6th on the all-time list of drivers that have had the most races without scoring a point, and the young German driver back up into the points again for Haas.
Come on, Mick. Come on, Mick.
Race control.
Lewis Hamilton saying he's got a slight vibration with the tyres, but they're still good. I think, Crofty, you might be right. I think if they extend another 4 or 5 laps, don't forget, with the wet qualifying, they all have new sets of soft tyres remaining. It's a gamble, but it might work.
yeah, Seb Vettel didn't enjoy them early on, did he?
So Leclerc 31.8, 1.4 unsafe to him.
He had a full tank of fuel though with the soft tyres.
Yeah, and the track's rubbing in a little bit now, but
Tiffy track limits. Go Tiffy needs those track limits.
To put soft tyres, I think I got to want to go surely another 10 laps before you want to put those on.
On board with Kevin Magnussen in the other Haas car, Nicholas Latifi.
Yeah, copy Lewis, you're doing a great job though. So let's just keep building this offset.
One of the problems Lewis has got is he's starting.
That's Lewis.
Quite a lot of cars. He's in the pits.
He is. Ted Kravitz, down to you.
Sorry to disappoint you all. It would have been great to put the soft tyre on and really go for it, but it's the offset. Oh no, that's a bit slow. A little bit slow. The front left. The rear seemed okay, but there was a little bit of a delay.
Has he thrown it away?
And by about 1.5 seconds.
It's not even going to be close.
There goes Sainz into Abbey. The two
Can they swap him around again?
Daniel Ricciardo has it's down towards the rear, has been lapped, and Lewis Hamilton behind him.
Yeah, and the slow pit stop, unfortunately, that's the difference. Instead of coming out amongst the Ferraris, he's ended up a reasonable chunk behind, albeit with fresher hard compound tyres on. So some more work to do now then for him, for Lewis Hamilton, but he'll be able to see them, and then he'll take a lot of satisfaction from that.
Warm-up will be challenging.
As it will be for all the drivers, not next season but the year after, because they're going to do away with tyre blankets. So the nice warmed tyres that greet the drivers for their pit stops are going to disappear, and well, the challenges will be something akin to what the drivers are facing here today. That's the pit stop crew. For once, not up to their 100% excellence, but the pressure of a Grand Prix and a pressure of a Grand Prix where they're racing for a win this afternoon can take its toll on plenty of people. I'm not saying it did there, but it's understandable.
It looked like they all went on fine, didn't it? But yeah, you can see Lewis struggling. He's lost ground warming these tyres up.
Okay, think about it for later. If Charles gives me DRS, no way having the fastest thing. Okay.
Right, so it's game on here. We're on lap 34 of 52. And there's the current gap between Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton, 4.3 seconds. Sainz, though, pitted earlier for the tyres that he's currently running. Hamilton has just pitted, challenging warm-up, but once they get the temperature, it can really start to exploit
This race.
that he might just have in that Mercedes.
Now it becomes a waiting game. It's not going to be interesting here for a little bit.
In the distance to help him out. Now, Lando Norris is coming into the pits for a second time in this race, the first time in proper racing conditions.
Yeah, they Richard has just pitted, so McLaren responding to that.
And out after a 2.8 second stop comes Lando Norris, who's getting the love of the crowd wherever he goes. Of course, this weekend have to stop once more. You're absolutely right. His pace is absolutely fine.
So yeah, it's a stop a little slow. As soon as these tyres come in, we will have a good pace.
He's got to clear Daniel Ricciardo as well. But I think one of the reasons they brought Lewis in is he was catching 6 or 7 cars in the next few laps.
Sergio Perez doesn't stop again in this race. So they've done 46 laps on the set of medium tyres, which even for a man with the subtleties of the boots that Sergio Perez has would be some achievement. Trying to work out if he's run 2 different compounds so far.
Yeah, he's got to stop. He's done a medium has Perez, so he'll have to stop again anyway. But Leclerc has just done the fastest lap of the Grand Prix out in clear air at the front. He's got a lot of track ahead of him as well, so that's starting to look like a race-winning pace.
Esteban Ocon has Max Verstappen now just ahead of him. Max Verstappen, who at one stage was leading this race, has picked up bodywork damage, has lost pace and has been down in 8th place for quite some time, has now got his old mucker Esteban Ocon right behind him. And when these two get together, things often get very tasty. Is Ocon going to make a dive into Abbey? No, he thinks against him on this occasion. Now the left-hand kick through Farm, and the next braking zone, Ocon just a bit too far back, or was maybe waiting patiently, Martin, for the end of the Wellington.
Can he get him in Brooklands? Oh, he'll get him in Brooklands. Maybe. No.
To be fair,
Wait.
could find himself Verstappen
No.
either 10th there or out of the points the way this is going.
You check your display. You need the info for 2%-ish from now on.
Fuel saving.
Well, that is not what you want to hear. This should not be a fuel-limited circuit. It's not a high fuel consumption. So Ferrari have obviously gone a little bit lower on the amount of...
Ferrari really like screwing their drivers over.
Gamble on safety cars and what have you, and you don't want to carry 5 kilos around with you. That's a 1/10.5 per second, for example, per lap, if you do that. So they all run a little bit short of fuel. Wait to see how the race unfolds, and then
This could get good. Here we go. Ocon passes Verstappen. Now Max is only getting 2 points. And Mick is up next. Come on, Mick. Come on, Mick. Pass Max. Pass Max.
And on the subject of fuel saving, they have actually had 1 lap less than they thought as well in this race. So Ferrari gone way leaner. Because the red flag, and then they came out behind the safety car.
Behind the safety car, yeah. So you use a bit less fuel on behind the safety car. But what on earth can fall off the Red Bull that's that powerful, and we can't even see it? We can't see it laying around anywhere, and we can't, you can't see a bit missing on it. It's extraordinary. It's just transformed the car in a bad way.
Question's been asked in the paddock quite a lot this weekend, isn't it? What's under the bonnet of that Red Bull that makes it so powerful?
So Leclerc just did another fastest lap of the Grand Prix, quickly surpassed by Lewis Hamilton in 3rd place. So 6 seconds covers the top 3 now, and this is where the car and those tyres in particular should start coming to Lewis. And just to remind you, he pitted on lap 34, Sainz lap 20.
And what's also going to help Hamilton, if Sainz is having to fuel save as well, that battle for second is coming to him rather easier.
Yeah, and that's lift and coast. So you lift a little bit early, let the aerodynamics slow the car down so you're not using fuel, and then use the brakes a little bit later, and of course you go slow.
Right, lap 38 out of 52, 2 seconds. The gap between Sainz and Hamilton. Ted Kravitz, meanwhile, has been on the Red Bull Verstappen car.
Yes, Martin Brundle, I am the genie to your question lamp. Oh, no, I've got that wrong, Crofty. You rub the question lamp, and I'm the genie who'll give you an answer. What could it possibly be that could be affecting Max Verstappen like this? It's the floor, say Red Bull. So it's actually floor damage
Floor damage. Yeah, that'll hurt you quite a lot.
New generation of Formula One cars. The floor is where they get all the downforce from. It's the ground effect. No, if you're
Ocon took that corner real tightly. I thought he was going slow there for a second.
if you're new, it's the floors are now much more powerful than they ever were in recent times. And if you damage it, you lose a lot of downforce. So we don't exactly know what ripple, haven't detailed which strake it is or which part of the diffuser maybe that's been removed. But yeah, that's how he's losing so much downforce.
I tell you what, Esteban Ocon's losing out here. He's been overtaken by Verstappen. He's been overtaken by Schumacher. He's going to be overtaken by Magnussen as well. He has got problems.
Ocon. I knew it.
I got things in the corners.
He was slowed through Village.
So he's in second gear. Has he got a
He's stuck.
affecting the steering?
Let the car stop right there. We'll need a safety car.
Stops here, we'll get at least a virtual safety car.
Where can he pull over?
If he goes around the first corner. And
I saw a tweet, safety car.
there's plenty of,
Safety car. Yeah, he stopped right there.
That's a safety
there's
car.
got to be a safety car.
Here we go. This race is... No. It's had everything, and it's about to have even more.
That 6 seconds gap between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. We'll get
Full
one
safety
down.
car.
Yes, we do have a safety car here at Silverstone because Esteban Ocon has stopped on the old pit straight. And you know how I said things were starting to come to Lewis Hamilton?
Oh boy. This helps Sainz with those fuel issues. It's a safety car. He could save so much under safety car. And he pits with Hamilton. There goes Leclerc's win.
You would think so, yes. So in Carlos Sainz, in
Come on, Carlos. Come on.
Charles Leclerc
Leclerc stayed out.
stays out.
Come on, Carlos. You got this.
Soft tyres that are going on.
I think Hamilton, this has just helped him.
Soft tyres as well, for Hamilton.
I'll be right back quickly.
Lando Norris. So,
Alright, getting ready for the restart. Probably 10 to go, I would expect. Because it looks like Ocon is off the track. And there wasn't any sort of debris because it wasn't a crash, so... That car looks sideways. Don't do the pit lane crash. That was it Grosjean?
He's lost one position then to Fernando Alonso as he comes out of the
but
pit.
this is McLaren's fight today, isn't it, with Alpine? I mean, it's been a bit of a lonely race, and
this helped Perez so much. Look out for Sergio Perez on this restart as well.
On the newer hard tyres, but we'll never found out now. But for Lando and McLaren,
The car came out. I think they had about 6 seconds, Martin, to react to tell Charles Leclerc to come into the pits. Now, sorry, about 10 seconds, I should say. Now, there's a 6-second gap to Hamilton, 4-second gap, 2-second gap to Sainz. There was a bit more time to react for Sainz and for Hamilton. It might just be that Ferrari didn't have the time to react quickly.
Safety car coming in here, doesn't look like it. Gonna get one more lap. So it will be about 10 to go. Yeah, lap cars may overtake. Daniel and Yuki.
Lap cars may overtake, lap cars may overtake.
So we'll go green next time.
We have 14 cars remaining in this race.
I know Verstappen has pitted onto fresher tyres, but given the damage to his bodywork and given his pace in the car, the safety car I don't think has helped him very much, because he has now got Mick Schumacher, Nicholas Latifi, Lance Stroll, Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda all breathing down his neck, and Tsunoda and Ricciardo, of course, on the lead lap.
Aston Martin done a good job, 7th and 9th from 18th and 20th on the grid.
20% battery. No, don't tell me. I'll go till 10%. Then I might have to end the stream.
To be fair, but I know that the safety car is ending, so we've got one more lap behind the safety car.
Yeah, safety car.
Okay.
I'm going to be a lot quicker than Charles, is what he said. So, well, he will, because Charles' hard compound tyres, put on a lap 25, are going to take some warming up. Because as they lose rubber, they take even longer to warm up.
Ted, down to you.
yeah, so there's no decisions can be made on team orders. We're going to have what I think we're all here for, Crofty, motor racing between the two Ferraris. But Sainz
Oh, this restart is going to be something else.
There might not be any more lifting and coasting for Carlos Sainz. That's going to be a help. His teammates on hard tyres, that's going to be a help. They can't orchestrate this Ferrari because they've got Hamilton breathing down their neck. And by the way, Esteban Ocon, it was a fuel pump issue that caused him to stop, and his team boss Otmar Safnauer to have in his hands on the pit wall.
Oh, I'm not ready. I'm scared. 10 laps to settle the British Grand Prix. This is the true definition of a sprint. Next week's going to be a long sprint too, isn't it? In Austria. That's 1/3 of 71. I don't know. 23, 24? Wait, how long was how long was Sao Paulo last year? I think it would be the same. Alright, getting ready to go.
This actually is to give 10 car lengths to Charles and some breathing space. Within 10 car lengths.
But guys, I'm under pressure from Hamilton. Please don't ask these things. Please. Let's stop inventing. Stop inventing.
So he's
I'm
obliged.
under pressure, Rose.
He's obliged to stay within 10 car lengths. What they're saying is make it 10 car lengths and give Charles some breathing space.
But he has no breathing space because Hamilton is right on his tail.
That's his point. Well,
Here we go.
stop making this up.
He's driving for himself. Ferrari drivers expected to drive for the team.
There's more to lose like that.
Copy that.
And he's rightly saying there is more to lose by doing that. Let's just go racing and look.
Here we go, back green.
Charles Leclerc round the corner as we get racing again, and Sergio Perez isn't far off Lewis Lewis Hamilton because he can make a charge in that Red Bull. Hamilton's going to be under pressure as Leclerc leads Sainz, leads Hamilton, leads Perez into Abbey.
Yeah, Hamilton struggled for grip after that.
Behind his teammate, Carlos Sainz, who at the restart
Carlos takes the lead.
thought about himself and wants to win a race for the first time. It is Carlos Sainz from Charles Leclerc. Then comes Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton back down in fourth.
Oh, Hamilton, not quite close enough for Kopp's move. Thank God.
Making up the top 10. What a restart this has been.
Yeah, the Ferraris got away, and Lewis just didn't seem to have any grip, and that put Perez right onto his top.
Claire doesn't have the pace.
Podium position now. Bizarrely after the race he's had. But this
Come on,
was
Carlos.
Sainz within a great chance to win his first Grand Prix.
Sergio Perez is now making a challenge on Charles Leclerc.
Could Perez win this?
To warm up, and the top three are moving away from Hamilton in fourth. It looked like it was opening up for the British driver, but he has lost out on a podium place so far. We're racing to lap 52.
Wow, this has gone poorly for Lewis.
Timed perfectly for him. What can he do now? Running in third place and making a move.
This is by far the best race of the year.
Hamilton has now found a bit more temperature in those tyres. He's gaining a bit on the Red Bull, and the top four separated by 2 seconds.
So this is, we're looking at this battle, but look ahead of us as Sainz goes underneath his team.
That was risky.
Wide on the curb on the outside, just as Perez is putting a move on Hamilton. We see the Ferrari swap. It was just out of the picture left, and the lead is saying he's going to have
That
so
was
much
crazy.
more grip. The curious
Incredible
thing is
stuff.
Hamilton's Mercedes on a fresh set of soft tyres just looked all at sea in the first few corners.
Yeah, but Perez on those same fresh set of rubber. Carlos Sainz on that same fresh set of rubber, and Hamilton.
Oh, here comes Lewis. Down towards Kopp's. He's going to do it down towards Kopp's. Get ready. Get ready. Okay, Lewis has the outside.
Tries to go around the outside. Perez has him covered off.
What a bizarre race. It's all turned around for Ferrari. What they now need is for Leclerc to hold this pair up to give themselves a chance to win this Grand Prix with Sainz out front.
And what Carlos Sainz wanted was the win, the victory, and to race for himself.
DRS going to be enabled next time by Lewis with the fastest first sector. Sainz with the fastest second sector. That's all we want to see.
Hamilton behind. Alonso keeping up. 5th place ahead of Lando Norris. Verstappen getting dropped back a little bit in 7th place.
Mick is still in the points.
And then Mick Schumacher and Kevin Magnussen completing the points. As through the Vale chicane we go once more. And Hamilton desperate to try and...
Fastest lap, Carlos.
We've got 8 laps to go, including this one. So much can happen yet, but Leclerc now is going to play a key role.
Now we got DRS.
Will get this victory up front, because I can't help but think if Perez and Hamilton got clear, they're going to have some great pace.
There you go.
Ferrari, he's going to have to go round the outside and stop.
Not quite there.
For one moment he might get the chance. Leclerc
Is Hamilton going to go for it down into the chicane? Oh, he is around the outside.
that inside line for the first part of the chicane.
Not quite.
And covers off Hamilton to keep him at bay.
And there's still 5 to go. I can't take this for 5 more laps.
Trying to get on the podium for what will be a
I
record-breaking
can't.
13th time at a single event, and Charles Leclerc is doing his damnedest to prevent that.
Lewis wasn't happy they put the soft tyres on, was he? And we know why now. The car's not really as alive as it was on those mediums.
It's a very good point. He probably might have been doing better lap times on the harder compound.
Lando Norris faster in the 3rd sector than anybody else.
3.5 seconds back.
Can Lando pull into the podium? Oh, here we go, Brooklands. We've seen that move before out of Hamilton. Oh, look out, look out, look out, look out. That's close, that's close. Is Hamilton in front? Yeah. It's not over yet. Look at Charles, around the outside. He made it work. No way.
Mega bravery from the pair of them, and full respect.
Oh, I need to do driver of the day. No, but I don't want to. Lewis Hamilton.
How right was he telling the team that no, don't use me as a spoiler. I can win this.
And while all this is happening, the championship leader is Max Verstappen, and he's going to take a hit in his points tally.
That was close.
In this race. So these contenders all fighting for the maximum points they can get, whilst Verstappen has a bad day at the office.
Finally, Lewis in the cops doesn't wreck somebody or nearly kill them.
From Hamilton. That's how you take cops.
That looked a lot like last year
Very brave indeed.
when Hamilton made the move on Charles. Just Charles made it work this time.
Absolutely exhilarating.
No way. Is that Mick? Is that Mick? Mick! Ooh. Oh, he's coming back at him. No, not quite. Not quite.
Yeah, could be his first World Championship points.
Come on, Mick. Come on, Mick. Mick's going to have a chance down in the village. 3 to go.
Wants Mick Schumacher to score points and score good points this afternoon. Not because he'll beat Max Verstappen, but because he deserves it, because he's come so close recently.
Yeah, it'll be ever sweeter, won't it?
He's going to have a good chance down here into Brooklands, down the Wellington Straight.
Tripping over anything.
I thought that was the yellow flag up ahead. It's just the harvesting light. What if the rain started to fall right now?
Out in front, 2.5 seconds between Sainz and Perez. I'll watch that while we watch the other Red Bull defending for all its might. And now he's Mick Schumacher, fast enough to try one down the inside of Cobbs. No, he hasn't quite got that straight line speed once again. Lewis Hamilton starting to catch Perez, just a little bit behind Sergio Perez, and we are approaching 2 laps to go.
Well, Perez, the Red Bull might be thinking if we get a 5-second penalty in this way, we need to be more than 5 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So if they get
here we go. Come on, Mick. Not close enough.
Max Verstappen on this occasion, but he's not quite close enough to make a move through.
That car just doesn't have the straight line speed.
Verstappen, when he came to the track this morning, thought he'd be fighting the closing stages with Mick Schumacher.
And it's just not fallen, has it, for Verstappen this weekend? He should have been on pole, wasn't, and he certainly had a great chance to win this race, wet or dry, and won't.
So 3.5 seconds, the gap between Sainz and Perez, just under 3 seconds, and back to Lewis Hamilton, who is now pulled 2 seconds clear of Charles Leclerc after some terrific entertainment in the closing stages. The drivers saving their very best until last. Who's making moves further down the grid? Ricciardo is catching on Nicholas Latifi. Mick Schumacher, as we're watching, right behind Max Verstappen. Alonso right behind Charles Leclerc.
Sebastian Vettel will be happy in 9th, but also watching, he's almost got a parental sort of care.
This is the most shaken up, not surprising podium of all time. It's still Ferrari, a Red Bull, and a Mercedes. It's just the Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes you wouldn't expect to see on the podium in 2022. No, Mick has never gotten points before. Coming to the final lap. Is Alonso going to get Leclerc? Leclerc needs to stay ahead just for some points, and Mick needs the spot. Couldn't get it into Stowe. This is better than Turkey 2020. It's better than Germany 2019. It's better than Valencia 2012. There's no doubt about that. It had a little bit of everything.
And I'm so happy for him. He deserves it. He's been brilliant, hasn't he? Through so many races and qualifying, and he's had to play second fiddle in the Ferrari team to Charles Leclerc. And he was struggling at the beginning of the race. Really struggling, but he kept it all together. As Schumacher then.
He's going for it. He's going for it. It's a Brooklands.
Mick gets forced wide.
Makes contact with Max Verstappen.
Oh, it's not over yet.
Lewis Hamilton taking Cobb's corner. Schumacher just a little bit further back down the road. Thought he had Verstappen for one moment.
Don't think Mick's going to get him.
It's worth having a go at Max, but he needs to make sure there's not anything 50-50 about it. As Carlos Sainz said, just a few hundred meters to go.
So in Canada, 2 weeks.
Carlos Sainz is a Formula One Grand Prix winner. Was that the greatest race of all time? It might be. It's up there. What a weird podium. Hamilton with the fastest lap. Oh! They were side by side. Oh, Max got a bad exit. Here comes Mick. Here comes Mick. Oh, couldn't get it. That was really, really close.
Behind Leclerc, Alonso and Norris, Verstappen comes home 7th, and Mick Schumacher gets his first points in Formula One ahead of Sebastian Vettel and Kevin Magnussen.
I don't believe what I've just watched. I don't. That was the greatest race of all time. Yellow flag, Sector 1. Isn't everybody finished in Sector 1? Hasn't everybody finished the race in Sector 1? Somebody really bin it after the checkered flag?
Take a penalty, no further investigation. The stewards have decided, gaining an advantage there up against Leclerc. But Sainz called that, didn't he? Sainz was the one who was like, come on guys, you're getting this wrong. Do not use me to back up Hamilton and the rest of this crocodile behind me. I'm the one who's going to win this race. I've got the grip. I've got the tyres. Why Ferrari only pitted one of their cars? Charles Leclerc will be the man who most wants to know. Apparently they had 11 seconds of decision time before Leclerc passed the pit entry. But Sainz made it happen.
That's P3, mate, and fastest lap. Well done. Hell of a battle there, mate. Really impressive drive.
That was a tough one, guys. Great effort. We got to sharpen up all round. But thanks so much for the hard work. Good points.
I need to charge my phone before Road America.
I think what Lewis is saying there.
It's at 15%.
Sharpen up all round. Pit stop.
Slightly slower pit stop, wasn't it, for the second time?
And Mick Schumacher has F1 points. The only thing that went wrong in this entire race, other than if I say other than lap 1, then technically nothing went wrong in this race because already it's kind of quick.
So another Schumacher name on the
Hamilton went for 30.5 there last lap, but you try your best. It was a mega race.
Yeah, he can have it. I don't care today. I don't care. I don't care.
And thank you very much for this race.
Thank you, Ricky, for all the opportunity this year. Thank you and the team, of course.
I don't know. I don't know about you, but that was a 6-star race. That was incredible. Alright, well, yeah, I'm a go so I can charge my phone now. That was incredible.